Big win, West football wins. Big win, West football wins. Anyway, West beat the tar out of the Clinton Dragons. I didn't know where they were Dragons. I think I forgot that. I don't know if we played them when we were in high school. I just didn't know that they were Dragons until tonight. So the Clinton Dragons that look like the Cleveland Browns, but also have UT orange instead of the Browns orange. So it's a very interesting color combo. Anyway, almost agreement at gmail.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Go to our website, almostagreement.com. Check out the fun and cool stuff we got going on there. Go to your favorite podcast writer. We're on all of those. And like, friend, share, or follow. Text us to your friends. Do what you can do to support the show. We've got city election getting a little hot heavy. We've got a county election for next year that's already getting real mean, and I love it. And I've decided that any sort of... I'm just going to be open about my feelings on it and not pretend like I don't hate one of the candidates. So we'll talk about that because that candidate did something dumb, and we're going to make fun of them for it, among other things. Anyway, and I'm going to probably try to get him to come on and do a podcast at some point and see how that goes when I'm mean to him. So, yeah. Test the theory. Hey, buddy, what's happening?
Hey, not much.
What's new with you?
Not much.
Not much. Anything to share? Nothing?
Nothing.
Okay. Ooh, getting undressed. I like it. Man, this should be a video podcast. You guys are getting real excited right now.
Getting warm in here.
Oh, it's because I'm in here. You know what I'm saying?
I know it.
So, so I this WBAR reported this thing that I shared with you earlier that I thought was kind of interesting. Very...
look at the stats on it to see how much we were.
It was predictable, to say the least, that... on some of the demographic breakdowns, I do find it interesting that Knox County got the highest number. And so if you think about it, so let me scroll down and find the numbers here so I can do this correctly. Total applications statewide were 42,827. There's only 20,000 available by law, if you recall. 68% white. This is just for applicants, by the way. 68% white, 10% black or African American. So would that be white African Americans? That is the non-black African Americans? What are non-black African Americans?
I guess South African.
So white ones?
There's some in the north that don't consider themselves black, I believe. I don't know.
Anyway, sorry, that's an aside. 8%,
I wouldn't call it like an Egyptian.
8% identify as multiracial, 4% in the Hispanic or Latino category, and 2% identified as Asian, and less than 1 in other options. Because that's the Middle Eastern North African, I think is what you're talking about. They don't feel like they're black.
Yeah.
American Indian, Alaskan Natives, Hawaiian Natives, Samoan, whatever. And the other 7% of applicants declined to report. And so you go down and that's whatever. And so then, applications are 68% white. Recipients of applications are 75% white. So it's pretty close. I mean, it's not exact and perfect, but it's pretty close. Because one of the things you got to remember in this is that of the 20,000 we got this year, 10,000 did have a income limit for the families. The other 10,000 were fair game for everybody. Let's see here. Students in Knoxville awarded the most scholarships with 2,557. Memphis second with 1,888. Nashville third with 1,267. And Chattanooga was fourth in 1188. I find that kind of interesting. You would think that Nashville, being the largest population in the state, would receive the largest number of
that's what I was thinking.
Maybe not receive the largest number of applications, because it doesn't say that. It doesn't say the location breakdown of applications. It only says total applications, at least in the report that BIR shared. So I'd be curious to see what percentage of the applications statewide were in Nashville and Chattanooga, and et cetera, and see how that compares to some of the other ones.
I don't know where most of the population of Nashville is. You'd assume not that many people live within city limits. I know Davidson County is the major county, but I don't know if maybe that's kind of part of the little bit of a split. Or I guess it depends on how they.
Well, I mean, right. Well, but Murfreesboro is far enough. I mean, that's a separate municipality and all that stuff. I would think that Nashville.
It's like an hour away.
I don't know how they do it. I don't know if it's Davidson County Schools or Nashville County Schools or whatever, or Nashville City Schools. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know how they actually subdivide it. but again, like I said, I find it interesting that Knoxville got the most. And the only thing that kind of makes sense on that, I would guess, is that Knoxville got the most of the non-income limited because the income was here already. And so Nashville and Murfreesboro, the guesstimate would be, I guess, in theory, that of the 2,500 of the scholarships that came to Knoxville, most of those, like 2,000 of them, were in the over-income bracket, and only 500 were in the under-income bracket. Where Memphis, with its 1,800, or Nashville, with its 1,800, like half or more of those were in the income limited group. And so Nashville and Memphis ate up most of the income limitations section.
Maybe.
And Knoxville got all the others. I don't know. I'm curious. I don't know what the rules are and whatever for it. So it brings the voucher conversation back into debate because we've got some data on who's getting these vouchers and where. And so white kids are getting them, but I mean, what's the population? That's the computer. Yeah. It's the show, or it's a commercial inside the fucking WBIR website. I'll shut up. It's not coming through here anyway. But anyway, so yeah, it's a. I don't know what the population of the state of Tennessee is demographically, but I'm going to guess 60 to 80% white is probably fairly accurate.
Possibly.
So it seems like it's demographically. My guess is that it's demographically pretty regular. But speaking of people on the vouchers and who suck about vouchers, the one and only Becky Henderson got herself in trouble at the Carnes Community Festival fundraiser this week to raise his funds. Hold on. Hey, dude. Sorry. It's okay. It's just it's like a potluck kind of fundraiser thing. So it's like $10 a booth or $20 a booth. And it's like chili and stuff like that, and it's just kind of a get together, and everybody you pay a couple bucks at the door, and you add all that together, and they raise like $800 for Carnes schools. And so anyway, there is a currently very poorly defined policy in Knox County schools that says you are not allowed to campaign on school property. Yeah. Short of the only exception to that is within the barrier on election day when you're campaigning at a polling station, that is allowed, but you're not allowed to campaign otherwise. So any school event, if your school's doing like we did Mad Science Night at Rocky Hill, that was one of the events they did, and they usually had a couple food trucks out there, and then the different teachers had spooky things, which you stuck your hand in a bowl of spaghetti and it was worms.
Yeah. It's brains in there. No, it's not.
And there's different things, just different activities and stuff that go on. And so, while as a member of the community, Betsy Henderson, or Cat Bike for this example, because this is her district, if she wanted to come and participate, she can, but she cannot campaign as part of it. And so the Knox County Schools policy on what campaigning is about the same as the Supreme Court's policy on what corruption is. It doesn't really exist. Because essentially, according to, I think it's Gary Dupler, the assistant assistant law director who is in charge of the school's law stuff, he said in a meeting where this conversation was happening a few weeks ago, is that to him the definition, it would be the words elect on a T-shirt or a sign, elect with the person's name in the office, or the person's name and the word for this office, where if it just says the person's name in an office, it doesn't mean it's not campaigning. Which on some level I get, because so to fill out the story, this Carnes event's going on, and a number of politicians, both current seat holders in different offices, as well as people specifically who are going after Betsy Henderson's school board seat, since she has announced she is vacating to run for mayor, but she's not really vacating to run for mayor. Her term ends when the mayor's race concludes anyway. So if she wins, whether she wins the mayor or not, she's out in the same time period. And so there's a couple candidates that are planning to run for that school board seat that bought booths at this thing, but they were just them by themselves or whatever. But Larson J. also running for mayor of Knox County. He's there, and his booth has Larson J. County Commission. So it has a sign that says Larson J. County Commission, which is a sign that acknowledges who he is, right? Because he is currently a county commissioner. And so what got Betsy in trouble is Betsy goes in there, I think Terry Hill who is the county commissioner for that district, is there with her stuff that says Terry Hill, county commissioner. And so, but what Betsy has is Betsy Henderson, Knox County mayor. Well, she isn't the mayor of Knox County. She's never been the mayor of Knox County. There is no way to infer that other than she is trying to be, which you are trying to be sounds like you're campaigning.
Right.
Now, if Larson had similar verbiage, like if Larson had mayor, I would make the same argument because his sign says commissioner. It's like a name tag, right? Like you go to any event and they give you a name tag. Some events will have more complicated name tags that are you and your title. Like it would be Sam, podcast co-host, right?
Right.
Like if we were at some influencers event or whatever, something stupid like that, but like some places do that where they give you the more in-depth version of a name tag, which that's what I would consider Larson's and Terry Hill's and anybody else that was there, because it's them and the position they hold is what their signage said.
Right.
Now, probably their campaigns paid for those signs and got them printed, which gets it a little iffy too, to be fair. And probably they made those signs to go do events like these during their first term when they knew they were planning on running for re-election. But they did them without the verbiage to make sure that they got under the policy, which is a little gross. But it's not as blatant as my name and a job that I want on it.
Right.
Not a job that I have or have ever had. And so Terry Hill, who's already kind of over the relationship of Terry Hill and Betsy Henderson has already kind of hit the bottom. So basically Terry told her to get out, or told her she needed to change and take down her sign or turn her shirt inside out or leave.
You gotta go home, but you can't stay here.
Yeah. And so actually she didn't say the or leave. Let me contextualize that a little better. My understanding of the story is that she was asked to either change or turn her shirt inside out, and instead Betsy chose to leave. And then the dust up was like, we kicked me out for this thing, but it's within policy. And apparently Betsy did ask Dupler separately before it if it was okay that she did that. And it's like, well, how did Dupler come up? Like, it didn't have, his opinion as the lawyer was, if it doesn't have the word elect or for, it's not campaigning. Which is stupid. Yeah, sorry, Gary.
Playing in that gray area.
But I'm just saying, like, to me, yes, Larson and Terry and anybody else that was there with their current job title on their signage, especially since it's very likely that they got it when they were running for that office for the second time or something like that. That's gray area stuff. When it's clearly because if it's not you campaigning, then it's you lying about who you are. That's the only way I could, like legally speaking, that's the only way you could argue it. Well, what do you mean, Betsy Henderson, Knox County mayor? You're not the mayor. What else could you possibly mean? Like, it doesn't say Betsy Henderson likes Knox County mayors. What else could it possibly mean? Because you don't hold that position. Like, the gray area that Larson did is, I'm Larson J. I am a county commissioner.
Go meet your commissioner.
Which again, I think that's a little, like, if the policy is no politicking on school campuses anywhere in Knox County schools, then, and then the other fun part is Betsy Henderson, as the chair of the school board, previously, she's no longer chair of school board, when she was chair of school board, oversaw the voting on the policy, putting this policy in place at Knox County schools. So either she voted on the policy intending on violating it, or not violating it, but gray areaing her way through it in the future, or she knew what the intent of the policy was and chose to take advantage of the technicality.
Or was just rubber stamping it and didn't really have an opinion either way.
She's the chair. Then that's its own indictment of her character as an elected official.
I mean, it could have been like not really like a non-starter, but something that was brought to the board. She's like, yeah, that sounds reasonable.
If you're a Steve Triplett or some rando member over here on the side and you want to rubber stamp stuff, that's one thing. But if you're going to be the chair, the head of the body, then your rubber stamping is not that's an indictment on your character as an elected official. I mean, I don't know how else do you interpret that? Like, you're not just a member; you're the lead member.
I mean, I don't want to imply that she was like indifferent about it, but I think I don't know how many things they pass on or implement in a school year.
I appreciate your devil's advocate moment here, but no, big anti no. If you want to seek out this position, you have to at least meet some minimum effort requirements, and the minimum effort should be. You have a basic understanding of what you're voting on. I think that would be...
I mean, the broad strokes of it sounds like it makes sense.
Okay.
I don't know if she read like the nitty-gritty to where it's like, you can only have 4 and... Or you can't have...
That was in a more recent discussion, that because it's the interpretation of the policy that already exists.
Yeah.
I call shenanigans in the whole thing. You're all full of shit. Sack up. This is stupid. It is clear that you were running your mayor's campaign in this event. I mean, hell, you could have just shown up with Betsy Henderson School Board, because that's the correct thing, but everybody in town knows you're running for mayor.
Would still be considered campaigning if they just kind of showed up and were shaking hands? It's like, hey, I'm running for blah, blah, blah.
I think it's the pay for part that's the main part of the policy, because you pay to be there.
And having their own booth or whatever.
Yeah, it's explicitly
kosher
says
if they just went and hobnobbed and just shook everybody's hands like, hey.
You can't hand out literature and stuff. I don't think this policy could keep you from conversing. Like, if you're just walking around talking to people and shaking hands, they're like, I heard you're running for mayor. Yeah, you should vote for me. I don't think they could say, no, you can't say that.
See, I would say that's campaigning.
I agree, except that's a different level of control.
Yeah.
Like, it's not as, it's
can't abridge free speech.
I mean, if at some level, yes, that would be part of the argument, but at the same time, it's like, I mean, again, I think it's gross. I think it's rude. I think that's inappropriate. But that one's a little bit, it's like, I mean, you run into anybody anywhere, and it's like, hey man, how you doing? What's new? Oh, I'm running for mayor. Have you heard? No, I didn't hear that. Tell me more.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, I can't. We happen to be in this particular building in this particular time, and I can't. It's not that I'm too busy to talk to you. I'm not trying to blow you off.
Can we take 50 steps that way, and then I can tell you all about it?
Let's go outside and talk about it.
Let's take this outside.
Betsy Henderson threatens fight with random stranger. Turns out to be a campaign speech. And so, just to expound on that, I'm very interested about the Kim Frazier addition to that primary. Because I did some diggings around and some pokings. I'm doing some journalisming. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to call it journalism. I've got to add some sort of suffix to it to make sure that it's amateur at best. But I asked the important questions to people in the know.
Sleuthing.
I did a little sleuthing on it, and so, which I guess I kind of knew and didn't put the two pieces together in real time. Is that like Betsy is working with Eric Wyatter at some level. He is not managing her campaign directly, as far as I understand at this time. But if she's going to associate with Eric, she's going to be a quote. What's the phrase that they like to use so they don't sound like what they are? Smart development, smart growth. She's a smart growth candidate, where Larson's more of a just growth candidate. I guess I don't know what the terms are. I always like the smart growth people or the thoughtful growth people are the NIMBYs, the NIMBYest of the NIMBYs. They're truly no growth people, because the smart is just making it too hard for the developer to say fuck it. I mean, that's what God, what's her name? And I don't know if she's still president, but she was president of Oakwood Lincoln Park Neighborhood Association. I sat down and talked to her one time, not on podcast format. I actually was sitting talking to her as a Happy Holler business owner, just trying to get, hey, we're open now. If I don't know if there's any way that we can, you as the neighborhood that's adjacent to us, that you could maybe use some of the network communication things to let them know that this cool new place is here if they want to come check it out.
Yeah.
But I was talking to her, and she knew who I was because my association with Compass and this and whatever. And so we talked a little bit about like gross stuff, and I think that was when that weird triplex, duplex thing was going on, that Oakwood Lakewood Park was actively going to Planning Commission and actively going to City Council to try to stop the variant permissions on the zoning to let this guy build a thing. And so I was like, wait, well, we got water runoff and this, that, and the other. And it's like, okay. And so where we want smart growth, and smart growth is, it doesn't match the feel of the neighborhood because all the other ones are single family houses, and stormwater management will become a problem. It's like, just say you don't want the fucking thing there and get over it. Just be honest about it. And you're finding excuses to get you to what you want that sound better than I just don't want it.
Right.
And I've not met a smart growth person that isn't really just an anti-growth person. So anyway, smart growth, Betsy Henderson, smart growth, Kim Frazier. So in the electorate, if you will, they're going to be taking chunks out of each other. But you have, I think Kim Frazier is a more moderate Republican outside of the growth conversation. I think that's going to have its own effect. And if we go back and remember, I can't remember dude's name that Kim primaried for that seat race. It was the guy that ran the D3. He was kind of a meathead, but he was a pro-developer guy. He had a bunch of backing from the development groups and stuff like that. He had the money from the developers, but he, and so there, at some level, you got to say, well, she beat out the developers pick for her current seat. So, she's at least on the other side of the developers, the pro-development conversation, where Larson's a more pro-development guy, but he's also the more moderate Republican. And so the development side of the things are probably going to lean towards Larson, and the other two are going to pick off from each other. But where the people that aren't into the fucking crazy right that is Betsy Henderson are going to be kind of split between Larson and Kim. And so it's going to be interesting. Like, I really don't know. I still think Larson's winning that.
Well, do you think they're going to make that a major, kind of campaign?
The development?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Really?
Absolutely. What else could there, one, if you're honest about what county commission does as a body, yes, that's actually what they should be campaigning on, and that's all they really should be campaigning on is how to handle development and infrastructure and stuff like that.
This is for the mayoral race, though.
Yeah. But even in the mayor's office, even the county mayor's office, that's the county government at large, because we don't have fire, we don't have our own police department.
Yeah.
We have a park system, we have roads, and we have land use. That's really
true.
You get down to the brass tacks of what the job is for county commission or the mayor's office. You do have somewhat of the spokesperson for the county. You do have that, you do have that gravitas that, you go out and you do the things and you cut the ribbons and you kiss the babies and whatnot. But really, when it gets down to it,
no more wrestling matches.
The most impactful things that the county government does is land use. A lot of the other stuff, you want to get down to waste and stuff like that, which is a fun thing for Republicans to run on. You can have the conversation about waste and emergency preparedness. How many snowplows do we have? How many should we have? I'm not sure exactly how they manage that policy wise, but yes, the county engineering who has the trucks that run around the snowplows and the salt trucks and stuff like that. That is under the county auspices. They do manage the relationship with the private fire and ambulatory services. But really, the actual things that really, really matter that they have real control over is land use. Or they can start selling stuff that's, and selling off county property or buying county property, but selling county property, in my opinion. And then improving the budget. And so, and then, and the inevitable that will happen is they're going to talk about how important schools are.
As always.
and how much they support the schools. And, to be fair, Betsy's going to lean hard on that because she can be like, this is all the positive that I did for schools. Now we can argue about whether people agree that those are positives or not.
Yeah.
And if I'm Larson or Kim, I'm like, you can argue, like if Betsy starts a school conversation, that's a mistake on her part. Because the first thing I would do if I'm Larson or Kim and Betsy says anything about school is like, oh, like that time you went to Nashville and had them and talked to them about how awesome it would be to have voucher systems and how everybody that's associated with public schools hates it. And I don't know that that's going to land well with the populace. But I don't know. I mean, I feel like that was a depth charge for Kim. For Betsy. I think that's what she was doing. I think she went there because some party apparatus told her it was a good idea. But I think her and some strategists, whether it's Eric or one of the other different Republican strategists that she deals with on a regular basis because she's in the know, was like, if you go do that, there'll be one of two reactions. There's going to be people mad. There's going to be people upset by it. There's going to be people that don't pay attention to it, which is a lot. And then there's going to be people that are really agreeing with what you're saying. And depending on how that response comes is going to say whether or not you have a shot at mayor. And I think that was the calculation they did. They did it, and they saw their response and said, I think we can run for mayor. I think she wanted to run for mayor. I don't think that changed. I don't think that was new. But I think that was kind of like a little like, what's the running up the flagpole? A test kite. There's a couple of different like cliche phrases for it.
Yeah,
where you're doing a thing intentionally just to see a trial balloon. That's the more common one. They're like
I've heard that.
You never heard trial balloon?
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those they throw out all the time. Like Chuck Schumer sent up a trial balloon last week on some sort of like middle ground on not shutting the government down. And a bunch of people got really mad with this kind of really soft version of some sort of continuing resolution or something like that. And and the base got pissed off, and he's like, "Well, okay, we're not doing that." It's just one of those like he sends a surrogate. Like usually, what it is, you send like a surrogate out to say something publicly, and then see the guy do the reaction, or you like I don't know, when they talk about it in national politics, a lot of times it's like, you get a pundit that you're friendly with to do one of those. I had a source telling me that the Democrats may do this. And it's like, so it's not really associated directly with anybody. No individual is going to directly catch the heat if everybody gets pissed off about it.
Vague party platform.
Right. But you get that, you get the reaction without getting the direct contact for it.
Yeah.
And so that's one of those tribal. Anyway, so I think Betsy went and did that thing at the state level to bring her name up, and especially in the more far right circles of people, but also with the reaction that she got, that made her and whoever she's consulting with feel like, okay, I think you have a shot at actually getting this mayor's race. Because I truly don't think it was about the substance of what she went there to say. Because she didn't need to say it. It wasn't changing anybody's mind. The state was going to do it any fucking way.
All right.
She didn't go on there. Like, again, I've argued to death, like nobody in some committee meeting sitting there going, oh, well, Jimmy came in and said this gave this great impassioned argument for why I shouldn't vote on what I'd already decided I was going to vote on. I guess I'm not going to vote that way now. Like, it just doesn't happen. All this stuff happens before you get in the room. Everything that happens in the public in the public committee meeting or in the city council meeting is performative. I don't believe it. I don't believe somebody goes in there, even if they're like conflicted on the decision. Like, okay, I see why this would be good. Like Roberto, apparently he was the one that broke the Chilhowie thing. Apparently, from all indications, he was kind of on the fence, but he didn't publicly say what he didn't publicly lean one way or the other, at least. But like, I very much doubt that when he got to the meeting, somebody said something. And he was like, actually, that one might be a little different because Debbie Helsley threw that out. We'll come back to that in a minute. So, I don't know. That's a lot of I just want to make sure that everybody knows Betsy Henderson sucks, and I really don't want to be our mayor.
I wonder what the general consensus is on
Betsy,
vouchers across the county.
Come do a podcast. We need to go over the episode that I taped with you that I told you was off the record and I can't talk about, or I can't play. I can talk about it, I guess. I didn't say the content. Well, I don't know what the rules are on journalism. I mean, I'm just going to leave it at. I said it was off the record, so I'll leave it off the record.
Yeah.
I did share it, but it's off the record. I didn't put it out to the public. I have shared it with a few people.
Yeah.
Because I can. I have no obligation to that part. I mean, I really have no obligation to the off-the-record part. I've just,
It's not being published, though.
Right. And if I really, if things are really bleak come, April, and I'm really not liking how the things are going, I might publish it anyway.
Well, hit piece.
Because, I mean, she sounds like a fucking lunatic. I got her. It was not fair. It was not nice of me. I was not being a good, I'm not a good fucking pundit. I'm not trying to pretend I am, but, I was angry. I remember, when it was happening, I remember, I was sitting over here and I was I wasn't pounding on anything, but I was swinging my, I want to hit the desk right now. I want to punch the wall. The shit that's coming out of her mouth is infuriating. Said a thing and then said the opposite. And I said, but you just said the opposite. Well, no, blah, blah, blah. It's no, but you just said the thing. And then she blah, blah, blah. It's just fucking, anyway.
I think I was sitting here for it, too.
No, you weren't. I don't think you were. Because Scott was in here.
Yeah.
You were sitting here the whole time?
Yeah.
Okay. So you know what I'm talking about. I was losing my shit. Scott was very uncomfortable.
He was calling to do an interview with her.
Yeah, kudos to Betsy for that part at least. She didn't hold my being an asshole against Scott for future conversations and stuff like that.
True.
To be fair, she doesn't have a choice. Realistically, the a Compass is at the level where you have to. If Compass says, "Hey, we need to do a thing," it makes a difference if you don't. Where me, on the other hand, I can maybe get in Chris Davis's ear and get Chris Davis to accidentally leave you off a couple ballots or something. That's the best I could do. Is wink, wink, nudge, nudge, my buddy Chris Davis, and he's a fucking good person and whatever, and he'll do his job right anyway.
All right.
Mitchell Howie Park is dead
for now.
I mean, forever.
You don't think you get reintroduced?
Not like that. And I asked that question to Scott and Jesse earlier today, and Compass Points podcast, look it up. It's good. It's better. I do interject sometimes on their show, but very rarely. And usually with the questions that you and normal people would ask, because God bless Scott and Jesse. They're great people. But every once in a while I catch them in this, to this level of conversation where it's hey guys, time out. We're talking to normal people. Now, their version of normal people is higher than most persons. The people that Compass subscribers understand more of what's going on and how it works and blah, blah, blah. But the question I asked them, I was okay, so again, context though. So as I mentioned earlier, Debbie Helsley kind of threw a curveball in the meeting this week because she had initially had floated out of maybe putting another 2-week delay on, or maybe a 4-week delay on. And then there was another kind of, somebody threw out the idea of, well, let's put it on 8 weeks so the new city council, when they get in here, they can deal with it. But her initial was 2 or 4 more weeks. Let's give it a little more time. She had mentioned that earlier last week. And then when the meeting started, so there's a couple, just in procedurally things is the first thing, it's welcome everybody, and they do a whole whatever, and somebody they do committee reports where the mayor will get, it's the mayor's minute, and the mayor says something cool about something that the mayor's working on or whatever, and blah 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 blah. But the first item of business is the agenda as you guys are giving them. Do we approve the agenda? And basically Debbie was no. I would like to remove item 2 or whatever it was from the agenda. And the item on the agenda was to be super specific, the item on the agenda was to approve the sale of the property to Emerald Youth for the whole big plan, blah, 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 blah. And so the pro for this for the city councilors was, by taking it off the agenda, it's before the meeting starts, so it takes out any public forum for the item because they never actually got to the item.
All right.
But so in the more logistical, practical breakdown terms of how that functions is more or less if Emerald Youth and the whole thing wants to do, they have to start it has to be a new ordinance, a new item, and they basically start from scratch. Can they? Absolutely. Will they? Probably not. It seems like, given the circumstances of the last 2 months of 3 months now how this played out, that they've already spent a lot of energy and effort for a no. And so I think, like, technically speaking, it's different than, like, on technicality. Had it gone to the agenda item and the vote to sell the property was denied, I think it would have been a more dead, technically, because then it's on record that they're not going to sell you the piece of land for the price given and stuff like that, versus they just threw the whole thing away. But you're still starting over either way. And so apparently, like as we discussed the last couple weeks, Amelia was a no going in, Seema was a no going in, Debbie was a no going in, Thomas was probably a no but never said it publicly going in. Smith was a yes. Lauren ended up being a yes, which kind of surprised me. She seemed to be a no when I talked to her about it. But so it ended up being Roberto was the swing. Roberto was the one who was vocally unsure of his plan and what he wanted to do and how he felt about it. And I think he took the opportunity to get it off the agenda so that it could just go away. So they didn't actually have to vote on the item itself. Which I guess, again, all of them, or not all of them, but most of them are term limited either very soon or on their next term anyway. Debbie's the only one that actually can rerun for her seat. Even the ones that aren't, like Amelia's term limited, even though she's not on the ballot this year. All the at-larges are term limited too.
I was about to say, I wonder if Emerald Youth would just wait out for a new commission, or after next year's elections.
They could, but I think the bigger wait out is going to be the mayor. Because the other question too is if a new commission is a new commission going to push more of what the neighborhood's been asking for through this whole process as soon as they come to work. Because like none of the current ones are probably going to try to start that process because it will take longer than they're going to be there. But, especially if I'm whoever replaces Gwen McKenzie, I'm like, hey guys, it's pretty clear that this neighborhood wants us to do something over here that isn't what you guys were trying to do before. How about, let's draw up a decent actual park to put in there and let's see what we can do about making that happen. I think I would even if I was not even District 6, but whoever wins the district six seat probably should. Yeah. It kind of feels like it's in the woodwork, like it's just sitting there waiting to get taken up, and see how it goes. So it was dead, which surprises me. Like I was surprised. Like I'm surprised for a lot of reasons. I disagree with it in principle. Like I think it's weird because, like I said last week, I think it's like I acknowledge the premise. Is once it goes into private hands, it's in private hands, and even with your little stipulations, whatever you put on it, it gets to the point where it's like, okay, we made this. I think it was a 40-year, the New Deal. Yeah, it was like 40 years, and if after that 40 years you want to sell it, you got to offer to the city first. But 5 years into that, 7 years into that, man. Emerald goes bankrupt or something else weird happens or all that kind of, just the world happens and it comes down to it. Is the city going to swing on buying it back? Are they going to be in a financial position to buy it back even if they want to, like those kind of things? And so I get the argument of, even though everything that everybody actually wants is in the plan, as far as a public access, everybody gets to use it kind of place, blah, 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 blah. It's already in the plan, but it's a private company. And people don't want it to go to a private company. They want it to stay in public hands. Okay. I don't know. That's the real complaint. It's like, yes, we want a park, but we don't want a private park. We want a public park.
Yeah.
Even though the private park has guaranteed public access for 40 years. And they're going to pay for everything, and it takes no tax dollars. It puts money into the general, doesn't take any money out.
Via taxes.
Well, yeah, by property tax, but as well as it puts money in with the sale of the piece of land.
Oh, yeah.
And so, like, yeah, I don't know what the long term. Like, somebody, I'm sure, has done the math on it. It's like it's going to bring X number of dollars into the city's coffers. Where what you're asking is for us to put a big amount initially into it, and it will bring no money in over time. Yeah, and so that's where we are, and so the people have spoken. We're gonna keep the fences up for now, and that's where we're at.
Tear down that fence.
I mean, I don't know. It's just like, because the other one to me, like, it just kind of popped in my head. Like, it's too late for the conversation, so it didn't really matter. But it popped in my head. It's like, so the city, part of the adjustment was the city had promised to, or guaranteed that they were going to put $10 million into the parking lot part of Chilhowie Park, or whatever you want to call it, into adding more park-like features there. And so, like, I think the question is, because, okay, I think the real question at hand here, and is this should have been discussed way before all this happened, if it wasn't actually discussed. But the city has been, and this isn't a Kincannon thing. This is a Ruggiero thing, if not before that. The long-term fair is not on the city's priority list. Keeping the fair down there, keeping the Tennessee Valley Fair there, is not a priority to the city of Knoxville. If they don't have anything else going on that piece of property, sure, the fair can keep using it. But as soon as they can figure out something better and get financed and do all the kind of stuff that they want to do better in the city's perspective, the fair's gone. I think the fair only has 2 years on their current contract left, and the city has no intent on extending that if they have other things going on. It's part of why they did the move with the Muse into the Jacobs building. Like, they're actively not trying to keep the fair there. They're not actively trying to get rid of them, but they're actively saying, hey, Mayor Jacobs, is there anywhere in the county that might work well for the fair? Because if they want to go there and maybe it's a better thing, it might be cool.
Right.
Like, and apparently the UT's ag school is helping try to figure out a different place to put it. Like, it's an active thing of them trying to find a different place. Not that the city's kicking them out, but the city ain't trying to keep them either. And so it seems to me that in the next couple whatevers, the whole main portion of Chilhowie Park is going to get rebuilt into something anyway. And that's going to stay public. And they're going to put $10 million of park type stuff in there. So it feels to me like the city's plan, and again, this is Kincannon's fault because she failed to articulate anything in this whole process well. And so if the plan for Chilhowie Park proper is to turn it into more public space, have more green area, make it not just a big parking lot with a bird fountain in the middle, and that's the long-term plan for that side, it would make let's let this go to Emerald Club and get the sale thing done, maybe a little bit more palatable to people. But it's also the super failure in timing of all this comes in right as the fair's coming to town for the year. And so I don't know, I think maybe for the future of the city of Knoxville, maybe Mayor Kincannon should bite the bullet and go ahead and kick the fair out. Because that's what the city wants to do. It's been a long-term thing with the city. Like I said, I don't believe it started with Kincannon, but if the city wants if Kincannon will take the hit personally for being the one that got the fair out of Chilhowie, then they can do whatever the longer term plan for what Chilhowie is or could be. Because
make it finally live up to its name.
Well, but I mean, as long as they're as long as they're holding on to it for the fair's sake, because it doesn't get used. It's overflow parking for the zoo and the fair. What else?
Nothing that I know of.
I mean, they quit doing the Jacobs building's turning into the Muse anyway, but the Jacobs building used to have a gun show every once in a while, and that didn't go well.
That was usually like the Expo Center.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's moved up there to the 640 Expo Center since, but the big Knoxville gun show used to be at the Jacobs building. And there's been stuff, there's things here and there, or whatever. But like I said 1,000 times, as a promoter, as somebody who has done promotions, that is not a place that I would want to put an event on. No offense, Magnolia. Or sure, take offense. I don't know what to say. That's not that. That's it's not. It doesn't seem like the logical place. Like, if it was cheap enough, maybe it's a little more attractive. Like for the fair's perspective, it's absolutely cheap enough because they pay $0 for renting the facilities. And so if it's cheap enough, it can overcome the, I don't necessarily want to do my event there. That's not the part of town I want to put the event in. That's not exactly the perfect space for the event I want to do. But I can make up for my loss in location with price, which that's not a positive long term from the city's perspective. Oh, we can have events go on here, but we don't get anything for it. We don't make any money as the city. It doesn't bring a lot of tourism in for the neighboring businesses. Everybody becomes a destination. It's not part of the neighborhood. It becomes like people come for the event and leave. They don't come down and do the whole, neighborhood experience thing. So I guess that's the question. Like, the question to me is, what is the long term for the Chilhowie Park, the main portion of Chilhowie Park, when we get rid of the fair, because that's what they want to do. And this might have been, again, it was a communications failure, full stop, by the Kincannon administration for not getting all these ducks in a row before going public with it and making sure everybody understood the totality of it. Because I think if you told everybody, hey, we're going to take the proceeds from the sale of this portion to Emerald Club, and then we're going to allocate 50% of the new sales or the new property tax revenue from that piece of property, because it's going to have $20 million invested into it, I think is what Emerald was planning. So I would think their property tax base would be in the $20 million range. I think that's how it works. So we're going to take that portion. We're going to guarantee 50% of the tax revenue that is generated from property tax from that piece of property, and the $1 million plus $10 million that we guarantee to match what we spent on Lakeshore Park, that we're going to put into this new project that is the future of Chilhowie Park. Now, we don't get to start on that just yet because we have to finish out our contract with the fair. But if all this was out in front of people, and they, especially if they had the drawing of what they actually wanted to do with the the shaded trees and all the different things that you do in those drawings, if they had that sitting out there saying, this is happening over here so that this can happen here, I think you get the sale. But there is no specific plan for Chilhowie Park yet, I don't think, other than we don't really want the fair in there anymore. And so bring it back around next year, Kincannon, with an answer to that question, and you might get this thing through. But if I'm Emerald, I'm like, yeah, moving on. That was more fight. Anybody with Emerald Club, hit me up. I've got a great piece of city property that the city should sell you because they're not taking care of it either. Right out here in Rocky Hill, and you'll get a lot more. Well, I don't know. You'll get plenty of. It's not as big. And so you do like a smaller version of it, but I think you'd get some good demand for your services out in this neighborhood.
You have a satellite location.
Mm-hmm. I won't. You don't want me to speak on your behalf for my neighbors, like my proper neighbors. But I'll point you at the people that matter in the neighborhood that I know. See if we can't get this deal done. I mean, hell, half my neighborhood doesn't count because we're county residents. For all intents and purposes, you can say, kick sand. Like, so if anybody in the neighborhood doesn't like it, you tell them to kick sand. Well, at least if they're a county resident like me.
Yeah.
I would. It's none of your fucking business. Sales tax revenue or the sales tax increase. Those groups are getting active and loud. I think it's a lose. I think it's a losing. We're a month out from, early voting starts in like a week and a half.
Yeah, it's hard to sell people on like, hey, we're going to make things just slightly more expensive.
I mean, the number one to me is that the way to sell it is we're going to bring $50 million into the system and get the finance team to run the math on how much of that's going to be people from outside of the city of Knoxville. Which, if the county's any good in countering that, or if Eric or any of the anti-tax people, the counter to that statement is, yeah, but what percentage of those people that are not in the city of Knoxville are Knox County residents? And so it's not like you don't like, and then the ad is, it's, it's not these faceless people from Louisville that are going to pay this extra money. It's the kids, it's your kids, your kids' friends' parents who are paying it because they live in the county. It's people that are paying it. Like, I mean, like you could make the anti version of my pitch pretty easily if you're smart about it. It's like, oh, they're saying, it's all these out of town people that are paying the tax. Well, out of town people, do you live in Carnes? Do you live in Halls? The West Knoxville is too complicated. People won't understand it. There's no simple way to be like, do you live in this part of West Knoxville, but not across the street from this thing and whatever? That's too complicated. But do you live in parts of West Knoxville that may or may not be in the city? Well, you're going to pay it, but you're not going to get the benefits from it. But we absolutely do get the benefits from it. And so I think it's a mistake. I still think it's a mistake on the county's part for not running the match. But yeah, I have a hard time believing it's going to pass.
Yeah, I would guess
I think it should. I mean,
down,
to me, it's one of those but they're going to get it somewhere else because these projects are going to end up being priority projects at some point. And so it's going to be a future property tax increase if it's not a sales tax increase now.
Right.
They're going to have to get it somewhere eventually. This does spread it out. Like, that's the one nice thing about being a sales tax state is it spreads it out. Because every Tom, Dick, and Harry, like when I worked at O'Charlie's on Merchants for the many moons I worked there, the amount of people that were halfway to or from Florida, to or from Ohio, like Michigan, Ohio, like the number of times people would come up to the bar and I get an Ohio or a Michigan ID on their way to Florida for vacation, or on their way back from Florida back to Michigan or Ohio or whatever.
Right.
Like the amount of sales tax revenue that O'Charlie's generated was probably 40% of people that didn't live in the state of Tennessee. It was people that were stopping at those hotels that were on the exit there, because Knoxville is a great place to stop if you're on your way to Florida from wherever. And speaking of whatever, the what is it called? I blanked out on I don't even remember what the stupid phrase was. It's bad. It's not bad. It just is. The Visit Knoxville has a new slogan. Something about curiosity welcome or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it beats Gateway to the Smokies. That was maybe the worst slogan ever.
Think so?
Yeah. Because what is it actually saying? We're next door to something cool.
Well, you can look better by association.
I guess, but I mean, it's like there's nothing special about us except we're near something that's special.
Well, I mean, the Great Smokies Mountains National Park is the most visited national park in the U.S.
Agreed. And I guess the idea is that if you're coming to the Smokies, you're going to come through here anyway.
Just start talking shit about Sevierville and Pigeon Forge.
But for what? I mean, we got their baseball team. Suck it.
Yeah.
Because you were going to... I'd be curious. That'd be an interesting question. I'd love to sit down with some of the Boyd people if they have a bunch of stats and just ask them certain questions like how many tickets do you think they sold to people that were visiting? I mean, I can see... Like, I would do it. Like, I can see myself doing that.
I wouldn't think that many.
Like, if they're good... If their marketing team is good, which I do feel like the Boyd Sports marketing team is pretty solid. If they're already good, they've got stuff in the hotels. It's like, during baseball season, they've got the schedules on the hotel counters, maybe in the hotel rooms. They've got the schedule like in a little pile of stuff on the desk in your hotel room.
Right.
It's like, and if I'm sitting there, it's like we got to town and we're going to do we got a bunch of different stuff we're going to do, and it's like, oh hey, cool, there's a baseball game tonight. Anybody want to go to a baseball game? Yeah, that might be fun. I wouldn't say it's a huge number.
If you were big into baseball, maybe you may when you're on vacation, be like, oh, let me see if there's a minor league team going on.
I think they'd be the more random. It'd be maybe I'm into baseball, but I'm not really thinking about it. But I notice it, and then I go, oh, all right, maybe we'll do that this evening. That might be a fun thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't think that.
I'd be curious if they have stats on it. That's all I was trying to say. Right. And it's baseball. Baseball people are stat nerds. They like stats for everything. Like if you like baseball, you like stats. If you really like baseball. And so, yeah, it's weird. I don't know. I'm not like it's not. I don't know. I don't know how much it matters. I think the finality that I came to in thinking about it is the way those work is. If the slogan is really bad, it's going to hurt you. But if it's anything above really bad, it just is. Like there's no difference in mediocre and great in a slogan for a tourism marketing campaign. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and it could be the best, most perfectest slogan ever, and it's not any better than like, hey, come see us. But if it's like, we might fuck your sister. That one's going to hurt you.
It's not going to go over well.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, if it's bad, it's bad. But if it's above bad, you're okay. All right. So then the other big story this week is what's supposed to be happening right 2 hours ago on Friday evening was the Knox Pride Parade and Festival.
Did see that got canceled.
And it was canceled. And there's all sorts of rumors of miss abound everywhere. And because I'm me, I know some people that actually know some things about it and what's going on it. And I don't really have anything like officially to report other than I'm not buying the reason they said in their public statement.
Yeah, something about insurance and something else.
That's horseshit. Like I'll give a little credence that their insurance might be more expensive than other people. But I think the first takeaway is in their hey guys, we're really sorry we couldn't get insurance, we can't do the event. But you should go down to Chattanooga and go to their event. Who got insurance? Because they're doing their event.
Right.
So they obviously got insurance. So the ability to get insurance is obviously possible. They just failed to do so. And then they kind of implied, it's like a dangerous time to be gay and out in public with gayness and stuff like that. They didn't really say that has anything to do with why we canceled. We just wanted to say that while we're talking about why we canceled. It's like, well, okay, so you, like the implication that they put out in their statement was that we couldn't get insurance because doing gay stuff is dangerous. And so that was kind of implied to me, at least.
I don't know if they have just one. If it's through the city, maybe they have one insurer they pretty much have to go through.
Nope.
They can shop around.
Yeah. They it's not through the city anything.
Okay.
Doing special events in partnership with the city of Knoxville is you do a special event and the city of Knoxville allows you to.
Yeah.
All the city of Knoxville is really doing is allowing you to. They give you a whole list of shit that you've got to do, and one of those things is you have to get insurance, and that insurance has to be you have to get a certificate of additionally insured, and the city of Knoxville has to be additionally insured. So your event, your people, all the stuff that you're doing is insured, and then the city of Knoxville is insured as well. So like at my event specifically, like I'm trying to think of what we could one of my derby drivers loses control and hops the curb and takes out a street sign, like a parking, like a parallel parking spot sign. Takes it out with his derby car, breaks it in half. The city, it being additionally insured, could put a claim in to get that replaced.
Yeah.
It's a little low ball for what would cross the threshold for the city to bother. But because that was broken because of the event insurance would technically cover that.
Right.
It's more about, I think realistically it's more about if a KPD officer, which the city obliges me to put on there, were to get hurt in a minor riot like if the event got violent or something like that, or just, somebody took the opportunity of a gathering to do some terrible thing, and one of the people injured in that terrible thing was an officer, that the city could then seek reimbursement for whatever they do for the officers through the insurance that the event has. So, I'll give a little bit of credence. Like, if you go into the base format of what it is to be an insurance company, I would probably charge more if I was an insurance company for a gay pride parade. Because I think statistically, and I'm sure the insurance companies know this for a fact, I'm just guessing, but I think statistically, that as a percentage of events, gay events have had more major claims than standard events.
For what reason?
Just like whether it's like some fucking lunatic going in there and driving his car through it because he wants to kill a bunch of gay dudes or whatever.
I can't think of too much like violence I've heard at pride festivals as of late.
Maybe, I don't know, but as a percentage of total events, so if like there's 100 events, 2 of them are pride events. One of the 2, like just for the math's sake, one of the 2 pride events has an incident where you have 98 other events that don't have or even if the 98 other events have 5 incidents, it's less than as a percentage of, you get what I'm saying? Of events. It's the same thing with like a hip hop event. Like if you're going to
say there's more violence after a UT football game, just drunk people brawling.
But how many of those end up in claims? That's what matters. Like you're a fucking Bama fan and I'm a drunk UT fan and I punch you in the mouth. Most of those aren't getting insurance, like going through some insurance situation. Now, UT wins a football game that they weren't supposed to win or whatever and goes and storms the field and takes the goalpost and runs.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, it's destruction of property, but it's...
That's state property, and that costs a lot of money. That costs UT a lot of money when that happens. Like, the NCAA drops fat fines on schools when that shit happens.
And I think a bunch of people, like voluntarily, donated to pay the fines.
Right, the big donors that are buying coaches' fucking contracts off and shit like that, they'll drop $100,000 on a we beat Alabama for the first time in forever. Sure, here's $100,000. Don't worry about whatever the NCAA is pitching a fit about. But they're the crowd's storming down the strip with the. That might even be on purpose. Ooh, I'm gonna come back to that. But they're storming down the strip with the goalpost to go throw it in the river or whatever, and they're again breaking down road signs and taking out streetlights because they're not professionals in moving goalposts down a city street.
Right.
I'd assume the university probably has some liability to take care of that. But they just did the whole streetscape thing a couple of years. It's been a bunch of years now. There's a bunch of trees and stuff. You can't do that anymore. Like you could not take goalposts down the strip anymore. There's a bunch of trees in the median. I think they did it on purpose, and they disguised that as a pretty project.
When they throw it in the river, I mean, I'd say stadium's right off the river. It's not that far away. I would think going by the strip. I mean, it's kind of taking the long way around to get down to the river.
It was. I mean, it would have been. I mean, it was when the wife was still working at the Hannah's. It was after it changed to Hannah's, which was after the streetscaping project. I don't remember what the game was, but they tore it down and took it down the strip. Because she remembers, she was telling me that they're looking out the front window of the building, and this mass of people coming out, and a mass of people come by, and then in the mass of people, like halfway down, the goalpost is just kind of floating, like it's already in the river, just floating down. And they went down, I think on that one at least, they went all the way down the strip, and then they turned and then went down and pitched it in over there by the Alcoa Bridge. But I may be wrong. I don't know. But it's they've gone down the strip a few times.
Right. You want to show it off. That's where all the party people are.
That's where the party people is. Now you just have to figure out how to get it down to Market Square. Anyway, I don't buy it. If they failed to get insurance, it's because they failed, not because the insurance is refused to. Now, I have heard from some other people that do special events and do public events like Pride, that it has been more complicated of late than in previous events that they've done. I got a friend of mine who is doing the 4th and Chill that is right now. If you're listening to this, go ahead and jump in your car and put the Bluetooth on and keep listening to this while you drive down to the 4th and Guild neighborhood and check that event out. And they were telling me that it was a little more complicated this time to do insurance than it has been in the past. And so I don't know if it's got something to do with government shutdown or I don't know what possible outside influences in play, but there is some credence to the idea that it is getting different. Something weird is happening. Or maybe they both just have the same shitty broker, and it just happens to be here now. Max did. We had a float. The Pirate Bar had a float that we paid for to get in, and we built a float. Spent a bunch of money on building a sweet pirate ship on a trailer to take down Gay Street with a bunch of gay shit on it. And now we don't get to show that off on this particular event. We'll do it for different events. We're gonna Max decided instead of building a temporary one every year, we're just going to build one permanent run and use it over and over again.
All right.
Now we got to hope that Pride comes back next year to use it for that one.
Go out in Chattanooga.
But we're going to find other parades, and we're going to put in as many parades as we can figure out how to put them in because we spent the money on it. So look out, Rocky Hill Christmas Parade. I have no real marketing value in doing that parade. Like it doesn't do like
Pirates celebrate Christmas too.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, go halfway across town to hang out at my bar because I brought my pirate ship out. We'll do it. We'll figure something out.
Yeah.
I don't know. Last time I tried to do something with the Rocky Hill Christmas Parade that wasn't Scouts, they wouldn't let me do it. So,
yeah, I could see promoting a bar might be.
Well, Roosters is always in the parade, so probably what I'll do is I'm going to talk to Aaron at Union Jacks, Union Place, Union Station, Union
Place,
Point, Union Jacks, Union Place, Union Station. I forgot what the marina is all of a sudden. Because they bought the old Peros over here. Yeah, Landing. You're right. Yeah.
But they may have sold that one. I don't know if they still have it.
Yeah, I don't know. I hope, talking to Aaron, he would be happy to get rid of it because seasonal business is hard.
Yeah.
But they got the old Peros over here.
Right.
Pretty good. That's a weird place, though. When's the last time you've been in there?
Years.
It's just a weird place. It's like two places that are stuck together, divided by a hallway, and then the hallway are the bathrooms. Like you go in the front door, and there's a small dining room and a bar, but that bar is the pizza oven.
Right.
And then there's the kitchen, and then there's a hallway that goes back to a second dining room with another bar. And then the bathrooms are in that hallway. And then there's a patio. It's an odd, like, it's just, that's what happens when you expand. I mean, Peros was there forever.
Yeah, good while.
And so they expanded and expanded and expanded, and it's just kind of happened. I mean, it makes sense. That's what happens when you expand a place like that. The one thing you don't move is the kitchen and the bathrooms.
Well, the little bar in the back's been there for years.
Yeah.
I remember it was some kind of like sports bar, which I don't even know what they had up front when it was pretty much like a bar in the back. I don't think there was much of anything up front at that time.
Yeah. So anyway, I might be like, hey, Aaron, I got a float built. You just have to do the Christmas decorations on it, and we can make it a union thing. But when we're handing stuff out to adults, you got to sneak some of my shit in.
Might work.
I just want to use my float. I don't really care.
Right.
I want to be in the parade again. I love doing the parade. I mean, maybe we'll do that. We'll do a podcast on it. We'll do a podcast on a pirate ship for the parade.
Be over and done with in like 15 minutes.
No, dude, it takes like 30. I'll get some. I mean, I can get Birchett will be there. Birchett likes to do the Rocky Hill Christmas Parade,
right?
And so we'll just set up. We'll build a mini studio inside the pirate ship, and while we're in setup, I'll get Becky Massey because she's always there. Any other candidates that are there to come over to the boat and give us like 5 minutes while we're in setup. And then we'll step off and we'll talk during the parade.
No thanks.
I'm going to do it by myself. I'm just going to talk to myself.
So last year it rained?
I don't remember.
It was last year or year before. I was surprised they still had it.
I mean, the first year I did it with the Scouts, it was pouring. and we did it because we did not build our float rain ready,
right?
And so the morning of, so the trailer is 8 feet wide. All pop-up tents that you pick up at the store for fairly cheap are 10 feet. They're 10 by 10s. And so I built these little feet that stuck out a foot on each side so that I could then drill through the feet of the tents onto these little extensions,
right,
that I stuck out of the side of the trailer to put pop-up tents on it. And then we had a 30-foot tarp that we threw all the way over it so that it was one singular roof. But the problem is we had 2 pop-up tents, so there was a valley in the middle. And so I had a broomstick. And so periodically I would shove the broomstick to get keep the water from collecting to get too heavy, and then break the thing and drop the whole thing on the kids.
Right.
And so we were sitting up there in the staging area, and every couple of minutes I'm like, all right, kids, get out the way. And I'd go up there and do the thing. And like the last one right before we stepped off, like kids are running everywhere, and everyone's like, all right, everybody, here it comes. And I did it, and like I just right on my head. So probably 50 gallons of water just straight onto my head.
Nice.
I was soaking wet. Had a great time. Loved it. That was my first one, and I couldn't wait to do it again. Yeah. So the pride thing, I don't buy it as I don't buy the excuse. There's more going on in that organization. And some of it might be...
they may just not have the funding for it. Maybe funding's gone down and they couldn't afford to have increase.
I think the bigger thing is that they have more... They have like a thrift shop or something like that, and a clinic or something. And I think it's more an attention than a dollars thing. I think they're spending more energy on the year-round stuff, which is fair. And they didn't put the focus and attention on the complications that are setting up an event of the scale that they're trying to do. It takes a lot of work, a whole lot of work. And you got to have at least a handful, 3 to 5 people that are seriously putting in a lot of that work.
Right.
And, paid or not paid, whether the funding's there or not there, whatever, you can figure all that stuff out on the fly. You just got, like, organizationally, logistically, I think that's the failure. I think they didn't have people that were dedicated to the roles of putting on the event, and to give some credence to the excuse, they just kind of forgot of on the 55,000 checkpoint list of things to do to put on an event with the city of Knoxville at the scale they're trying to put on. They missed that box when they were checking boxes off a month ago. Maybe. And then like a week ago, they're like, oh shit, we don't have insurance. And they started making phone calls, and they just couldn't get it put together in time. That's my most generous version of what happened.
Very possible.
Yeah. And so, sucks. Pride parades are fun. People love them. People need them. That's their one annual outlet.
Now they got to go to Chattanooga.
I'm not going to Chattanooga. I wouldn't. Because it's not about, I don't know, that's kind of what the pride. But apparently, like a couple of years ago, we had the, some magazine or something like that pays attention, voted to be like one of the best best pride events in America.
Really?
Was the Knox Pride, I think it's like 2017 or something like that.
Wow.
I think it was pre-pandemic. And it's like, you went from the best to can't even pull it off. Come on, guys.
Man, it was far too much publicity. It got too big.
Well, I think one of the things too. This is how do I say this? I think the community at large is getting fractured over time. I think there is a generational issue in play. I think there is a younger set that the older set is not copacetic with. How do I want to say this? I have a friend who is 60, who was very active in the gay scene, who is the most crotchety old man of all the crotchety old men I've ever met. And I jokingly refer to him, to his face. He understands this. I've told him this before. I refer to him as a Stonewall gay. Meaning he was alive when Stonewall happened. In that era of discrimination against gays and stuff like that.
Right.
And to him, kids these days, in a non-pejorative, well, the new plight of gays is like almost comical to him. Like, it's just ridiculous. Like, what are you guys talking about? You guys have no idea how bad it is, kind of thing. Like, I lived through this, and you're complaining about that.
All right.
Get over it. Like, I think there's a generational issue there, because it's not the same. It's just not the same. And to try to equate it to the existential threat that it was to him and what it is now, it's just not the same. Right. And so, like, you get you get two guys together that, you know, it's not easy either way or whatever, but you get two guys together, one that's 60, one that's like 25. It's like, you guys have no fucking clue how hard it was.
Just have names thrown at you guys. Like, we had actual like shit thrown at us.
Right. Like when I was 25, you know, like, it was not.
Right.
Like, it's not okay now, and there's a lot of issues, and there's a lot of like political mess, and there's a lot of hate and all that kind of stuff. There's no denial of that. But compared to, it's night and day, and like I get that perspective, and he kind of respects me for calling him that. I'm not trying to be hateful about it, and I was like, I get it, but at the same time, you got to remember, they don't know any better because they weren't there. And so anyway, I think so because you have Sono Pride and Knox Pride, which are two separate organizations, and Sono Pride is the younger set, and they're doing great, and they did their event in June. And Knox Pride moved theirs from June to October because it's fucking hot in June to be doing a parade.
Yeah.
And so I think that kind of plays into it too. And I think there's a couple there. When you have the older group that's running the thing, the energy's not there like it was when they were kids. I think that's probably the bigger part of it than anything. And you get that whole like, so the polite way is they're older and tired, but the less polite way is they're also more rigid. They're not as flexible to the changing things that they need to do to keep up with what's going on. So that's my take on what truly probably happened.
We may never know.
I'll probably figure out the truth.
Okay.
I'd offer my services, but I almost feel bad for charging, but I'm not doing it for free.
Right.
That's a huge event. I'm not doing that for free. I could do it. And I would happily do it, but I've got to figure out a number that I would charge to do it.
Consulting fee.
Yeah, and it would be big. It would be at least, I would think like $5,000 would be my starting point, and I think that's a low number. To put the scale that they do, I think $5,000 would be a low number.
Yeah.
Like, I think maybe. I don't know. I'd have to think about how I'd want to do it before I'd give them a quote. Because I think I'd bring some people on. I think I'd bring a couple friends in. And so, yeah, I think probably closer to 10. I'd take like 4 or 5, and then I'd have like $3,000 for a couple people that spend, a third of the time that I spend on it. Like, I'll do all the paperwork and all the hard stuff. But as far as coordinating all the different stuff, I'd bring in a couple people and I'd pay them too. But I'd make it happen. That's not a bad number, I don't think. I think I would do it with the intent to make more than I'm asking for.
Right.
I mean, I'd say this is probably the if you have your bingo card, this should be a bingo card ad for listening to Almost Agreement. Is I'd like to see the books. I'd be curious to see their books because realistically, I don't know what their expenses would be. I mean, I know the cops, like I know the parts that the city requires, but when they bring in entertainers, are they paying people or are they volunteer entertainers? Like, because part of it, they do shows and different stuff. Like the parade.
So I was about to say, what do they do outside of the parade?
Like the parade is all income as far as the show goes, because all the floats are paid for. Like the people that put the floats on are sponsored. They sponsor the event by doing the float. But like the festival part, I don't know exactly what all they have that goes on over there and how much that costs. I also don't know how much it costs. I don't know what the city charges to rent World's Fair for the day.
Probably not cheap.
That might be my next one. I don't know. I have had a bunch of people be like, hey, I've had 2 different groups. This is so frustrating. 2 different groups hit me up this week saying, hey, after Hollerboo, can we get your can we get your hay bales? It's 2 different nonprofits that do some sort of farming kind of whatever they need. It's like it'd be useful to them to do their thing. And it's like, I was begging for people the first year we did it to come get these hay bales, get them out of here. I would have loved to have had a partner that they're one for tax purposes, because I would write that off as a potential sale donation. So, right, me donating to another nonprofit. Right. But B, it would be like, okay, here's the deal: you can have every single one of our hay bales, but you have to help us set them up, and you have to help them break it down. So you need to give me volunteers day of, and then you guys as a group pick them up night of or the day after, and you can have all of them. I would absolutely do that in a heartbeat. I was begging for anything close to that. And then I get 2 people this week when at this point we haven't advertised, we haven't done anything. But 2 different people hit me up and be like, hey, you guys doing Hollerboo? If so, can we get your hay bales? Damn it. No, you can't, because we're not doing it. So apparently I have to do Hollerboo again, which I don't want to. Like, I was like looking at the calendar, like there is like 7 things, not counting Pride, going on this weekend. Because it's a bye week.
Maybe it's that time of year. I think a lot of places start to do like their fall festivals and whatnot.
Oh yeah, it's that time of year, but it's the bye week.
Right.
You know, and so traditionally in years past, but that's gone away, Brewers Jam was on the bye week. But then Pride was taking the bye week. Like I said, this 4th and Chill thing is going on to this weekend. There's a bunch of stuff. Not to mention, kudos to Scott on this one when we were doing his show today. I made that same kind of thing. It's like, it's bye week, everybody. There's something great going on this weekend. Get out and do something. There's all sorts of stuff going on this weekend. Take the opportunity when we don't have football to go do some cool stuff in Knoxville. And Scott said, or enjoy your parents' or enjoy somebody's wedding, because I'm sure you're invited to a wedding or 5 this weekend. And so I said, yes, congratulations to all the newly married couples, because we record on Friday, it releases on Sunday, assuming that the weddings are on Friday and Saturday. It's like, congratulations on your wedding.
Right.
Good job, everybody. Way to go.
You did it.
I do have a friend getting married on Halloween, which is a Friday night. And I was actually really bummed because it wouldn't have lined up anyway, but we were talking about doing Hollerboo this year. It would have been the 25th. And I was like, and it's he's using one of the venues in the Holler. And I was like, man, we might be doing Hollerboo against your wedding. Is that okay? He's like, yeah, it sounds awesome. It's like, damn it, you're cool. That'd be great. Plus, it would shut up that guy that owns the venues, because that's his complaint. He's like, I don't really make any money off these things. It's like, well, you could. I'm not telling you not to do stuff. He's like, right. Yeah, but who wants to do a wedding when there's when the streets are shut down for a special event? It's like, people are into all sorts of weird shit, man. What he should have been doing was doing like showing off his venues during it, like open them up and have stuff going on.
True.
And then have somewhere in there where people can be like, what is this place? This is a venue. Oh, what do you do in a venue? Whatever you want to. Here's some information on how to rent it out. That's what I think I would do, but no. I hate that he has 2. I want him to. I wish he would turn one into just a normal place and have one venue and one like bar restaurant. Or if it's going to be a venue, make it more of a concert venue instead of a generic venue, because it sucks for concerts. Plus, it's expensive. Like, I've thought about being like, man, let me get a date. I'll bring some band in. I'll try to be like a standard show promoter one time just to see how it goes. It could be fun. It could be interesting.
Like a foam rave party, bubble rave.
No, like I
whatever
really
the kids are into these days.
I really want to do Brass Against the Machine. I would really love to do them. I just don't know if they have the magnitude to sell. That's the problem. Like I've thought about it in depth, and it's like, what could I like? And part of it's because I'm not cool and I'm not hip, and I don't know what's popular and what kids are into, kind of stuff. Like, I mean, if is it a ticketed event? What would be the math on doing a ticketed event? Just break even, let alone make a couple bucks.
Right. At
least make it worth my time to do. Doesn't have to make me a ton of money. And I've done the math. Like I've tried to do the math on a bunch of times. I just don't know. Like it's a 500 seat venue. How, like if I could sell 500 tickets, like who could sell 500 tickets? Like yes, part of it's my job to find people that would want it, but it's also like I don't know fucking bands. I don't know popular bands that would bring 500 people out. Like I know bands that I would like, and maybe use the opportunity. I could pull the full Ashley Caps and just start booking bands that I want to meet the bands, and I want to see the bands and meet them, because as the promoter you get to meet the band, obviously.
Right.
Like, hey, I'll bring Smashing Pumpkins to the Happy Holler.
Something more of just like a generic event, probably your best thing.
I mean, it's just like you got. I don't know. You just got to figure out. You got to find a band that can bring people out. If you're going to do a concert,
right?
It's got to be a band that people are into, and you got to do the math. It's like, all right, the venue costs this much, this costs that much, this costs this much. We can sell this many tickets. So band, venue, staff, blah 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 blah, costs this much. If we sell all of the tickets, if we sell to capacity, so the fire marshal doesn't shut us down because we don't exceed that number, this is how much we could possibly bring in. Is that number bigger than the other number? Is the first question. And I would guess that in the industry, like 50 to 60% of ticket sales is probably your target break even. Like if you could sell 60% of the capacity,
right?
You want that to roughly equate your costs.
Like at least get like half full.
Yeah, I would guess that that's probably the industry standard. If we can get to 50%, unless you're doing like unless you're promoting a band that like if you're like a fucking doing a Foo Fighters tour, you're like, I don't care, doesn't matter. We're gonna sell out whatever fucking venue. We could sell out Thompson, we could sell out Nayland, we could sell out Bridgestone, and then it's different math, but. It's but then those are all percentage stuff too. The band gets a percentage of the total, and it doesn't really matter. So I don't know.
That's why you just give them a flat fee.
Yeah,
flat fee, and you get your merch shit.
Or you do it the inverse. It's like, well, you get 50% of you get 50% of the profit.
Yeah.
So
you don't make money. You don't make money.
Right. Nobody shows up because nobody likes you guys. I mean, that's the small scale way to do it. It's like nobody cares. Nobody likes you guys. Nobody shows up. Nobody makes any money. That seems fair. I mean, that's kind of how I feel about some of the bands we booked. Like, I don't know. Again, I'm not cool and hip, and I don't get it. But like, we paid some good money for some of the bands we've done for our events, and like, the concert's been the least impactful part of Hollerers. It's all about the Derby,
right? And as it kind of should be.
Well, I mean, that's the part that I like. That's the part that I think is the most exciting to me. But like the game is to kind of run them together. Is like, come out, hang out, check out the Derby, check out the vendors and stuff that we have going on. Go home, take a quick shower, chill, drop the kids off at your mom's house, come back and see the concert. Like that's the idea. But it seems to mostly be hang out, watch the Derby, go home, and then a handful of people will come out for the concert, but it's not the same people. So, anywho.
People's attention span is short. So how long is it kind of start to finish as far as people coming down there right before the
10, 12 hours.
Yeah, most people aren't going to stick around for the whole thing.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Just hang out for a little bit, go home, take a break, come back. That's what my hope is. But because it's also $free, cost you nothing.
Could you do the bands in the middle somehow?
No,
break up the.
I would love, like we've talked. We were talking about doing it when we were discussing the potential of doing Holler Brew this year. We were talking about doing a night race. So the event didn't start until like 4 p.m.
It's like glow in the dark wheels,
and just be on the street in the dark and go rent like those fucking construction lights, put them on the roofs of the buildings. Those construction site generator lights.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like we couldn't put them on the roof of the building. That would not.
Right.
Engineering wouldn't let us, let alone the logistics of getting them up there would be a huge problem. But the idea of doing night races is super awesome. But alas, that's that. Black Hawk helicopters, people jumping out of helicopters and arresting the entire building in Chicago this week.
What? I didn't hear about that.
As there's some ice raid bullshit. Going national. I ran out of local stuff. I think I've covered everything on the local side that I can think of.
Let's see some kind of statewide that reminded me of when we were talking about the kind of legal opinions of the county administrator or whatever. I think there was a Democratic senator that brought up the National Guard being sent to Memphis.
Memphis, yeah.
That apparently, according to him and according to, I guess, state law or whatever, it violates it because it would be considered almost like a militia for bringing in military
it's like,
or National Guard whenever there's like unrest going on.
What's the phrase? It's like Latin. It's some Latin phrase. Comitatus or something.
Maybe.
Yes,
apparently, like the former Attorney General, I think even the current Attorney General apparently had an opinion out that agreed that was state law, but apparently has kind of like taken it back. Just kind of like made his previous opinion
I think
go away. He's like, oh, no, it doesn't violate state law.
Well, I think the interesting, like, so Chicago, like, okay, so the difference in this, well, Chicago's ice raid stuff, so it didn't matter. The difference in putting National Guard in Chicago and Memphis, the big difference in the two is that the governor of Tennessee is like, hell yeah, bring it on. The senators, the governor and the senators are like, yeah, bring it on. Where the version in Illinois is like, no. And it gets a little more complicated. I think there's more of an opening in Republican-controlled states, blue cities and red states. Memphis being a good example of getting away with it, because I don't think it's legal either. Like I
think by law, like the government is supposed to like ask for it or whatever. That was like one of the big pushbacks I think in California.
Right.
That I don't know. I think there was a couple of court cases that were
blue
filed.
City, blue state, and that's why so both the governor, the mayor.
Right.
Are all like, no, we don't want you here. We don't want to do this.
It was pretty much like a federal decision to send them in. It's kind of like, well, no, we didn't ask for them. Like you're only supposed to send in the National Guard. Yeah, but they also had active duty, like Marines, I think, in L.A.
Right. It's fucking gross. It's all gross. It's all bad. We've crossed the threshold. I don't know what that means. We've talked about this a couple weeks ago. It's like, like it used to be an ACE. One of the AC things is like, what has to happen? What do you have to hear? What do you have to believe that this person is capable of before you stand against them? It's like, well, I never stood for them in the first side, but like, again, I don't know. Like I've been thinking about that question a lot that I said a couple weeks ago and I guess the question is, it's not what does Trump have to do or what does the federal government have to do? It's where's my response? I guess like that's the thing. It's like at what point does it get to the point where I have to respond in a more dramatic way? And that's the part I can't really figure out. It's like I think our protection of Ukraine, I think our assistance with Israel, I think our general tariff and international policy at large is a huge mistake, and these things are all bad, and it needs to stop. I think this shit that's going on with but what feels to me like we're prepping for a non-election year or something like that, or whatever the election results are going to be denied, and then we're going to have some weird little federal overtaking of all the states, or at least all the blue states, because they didn't vote the way that they were supposed to, or whatever. I think that's what I feel like we're prepping for. But it's like, okay, if the worst case scenario that I can think of off the top of my head is Trump runs for a third term, obviously loses it, but says that it's doctored election results and sends federal troops all over the place to tamp down any people pissed off about the correction of the election results that he puts forward or whatever.
It was reported in that, I don't know if you heard about that recent, it was like big, like military, they called in like all the high-ranking military people.
Because they're all fat.
But Trump apparently said in that he wanted to use cities as kind of like training grounds for the military.
That's illegal, but...
All right.
They're
getting like lazy, doing workouts on camp and little, mini play skirmishes. Like, we should let them get some training in the city doing crowd control.
I mean, like, I can actually see the innocent logic in that. Because I mean, realistically, like, I don't like total war, World War II style total war. I don't know if that will ever come back. At least not from the American perspective. I don't know that we will ever go. Like, hypothetically, like we would go into Mexico like we went into Germany in World War II. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
Like, I don't know if that exists on the modern battlefield in concept for the American military.
No, not with the rise in drones and even just like, cyber attacks.
Right. And so realistically, if we were to invade, quote, like, Venezuela, which is kind of sort of maybe happening, like realistically, if we were going to go and conquer Venezuela, 90% of what the ground troops would be doing would be crowd control, martial law in a city kind of stuff. They're not going to be going, they're not going to be going door to door. They're not going to be engaged in like an open battle, kind of stuff. That doesn't seem to be how war works anymore. And so, like, on a very naive, innocent logic, I can see where that makes sense. Like, okay, well, let's, we've got some stuff going on in major cities. Let's let these guys do some training in a more realistic format where we need to control, a martial law situation in Portland. Let's send the Marines and the Army in there to do it, because that is most likely what's going to end up happening if we send them into whatever Venezuela's capital city is.
No.
But I mean, like, the logic makes sense in the very basic, simple logic. Now,
more so in like the aftermath of a war, but I guess that would be considered part of it.
But I think that's
kind of the winding down.
But to what you said is that the war part is going to be cyber attacks and drones and more traditional bombings, but then it's going to be that the actual troops hit the ground to control the aftermath. And so again, like I think, like, it again, in a very naive version of reality, that kind of makes sense. I guess I just
unconstitutional. I don't care
at
for
best.
The sentiment of it.
I don't either. I'm not trying to
use the military.
I'm not trying to make it okay. I'm just trying to say that I could see the logic in what's going on.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the National Guard's considered part of the military.
Yeah.
Well, I think it was today I was reading an article that was just kind of hypothesizing, kind of like the aftermath of it. It's like, sure, you're going to see a decrease in violence overall.
Yeah.
Just because you do have, armed people on many of corners, but what happens when they leave?
Right. Goes back to how it was.
Right.
Or worse.
I mean, so I think you'd get the same results if you all of a sudden had an influx of, state troopers, law enforcement in the city. You're probably still going to get the same results as having National Guard there.
And that's the question. It's like, okay, so if it works, and that's the problem, like it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's like, okay, it worked. Crime rates went down during that time.
Right.
So we need to keep them there all the time. Do you want to live in that world?
Hell no.
Does anybody want to live in that world? Well, they're not going to be in my neighborhood because we're in the white rich neighborhood and we have our own fences.
I know, like in D.C., there were times they were like picking up trash and like
I'm good with
cleaning
that.
up the parks.
I actually kind of love. Like, I love the idea. It's like, hey, we got all these guys that we pay as taxpayers, as our standing army that are standing around training, and that's good. We're good with them training, but they're full. Like, we have a full-time army, like paid full-time, and maybe instead of sending them over to, I don't know, Benghazi or cutter or whatever the fuck. We now have Article 5 protections for cutter. Is that cutter? No.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Cutter, whatever. Like, instead of, like, you know, having a military base in Cutter that we have a bunch of guys there, yeah, maybe send them to downtown Knoxville and pick up some fucking trash. Just on the weekends, have them train during the week, go to the base to do their things and whatever. But, you know, maybe every once in a while send them out. Have them do some generic stuff that needs to get done that we don't have any other, you know, we don't have funding to do otherwise. So these guys are getting paid. Let's get them. Let's get some value out of their work, because them hanging out in Cutter, and now we're like that fucking Article 5 thing and Cutter thing drives me crazy.
I thought what I read on it, it doesn't guarantee military. It was like we may respond with diplomatic or other means. I don't think it was guaranteed that we will send troops if they are attacked.
There is a potential where our other allies that are their neighbors who don't like them, they will have this weird, like we. If it was a true Article 5 situation, that we would be obliged to fight our ally because we have this relationship.
I think even with the NATO Article 5, it doesn't guarantee that you have to respond with. I think it's like a pledge to support, but it doesn't mean that you pledge to automatically send troops.
Well, I mean,
but you can assist in other ways.
That Iran bombed them. Well, didn't bomb them, but bombed.
That was Israel.
Right. Qatar's pissed that Israel bombed.
Okay, you said Iran.
Oh, sorry. My bad. Oh, I don't know. I'm done with it. I don't care about the Middle East anymore. I don't want to hear about it.
Okay, stop reading the news.
Oh, I don't. I want to stop paying for it. Sorry, I misspoke on my first phrase.
Yeah.
I want to stop.
I saw the farmers were pissed off after it was announced that we're bailing out Colombia? No.
Argentina.
Argentina.
Yep. And then they cut their export tariff on soybeans, and so China's buying all their soybeans from Argentina instead of from us, and so we have a bunch of soybean farmers that are fucked.
Yeah.
Like some real number shit. Like real number shit.
Yeah, I think I've heard reported a couple times there's literally been zero, like, purchases from China of soybeans.
Yep. And you know what didn't happen today?
What didn't happen?
That should have happened today? You know what normally happens on Fridays?
No.
On the first Friday of the month?
No. Payday?
I mean, yeah, probably for some people. But the Office of Labor and Statistics puts their monthly report on the first Friday of every month. Not today.
I think I did read that they were holding that off.
I believe it's not because of the shutdown. It's because they don't have a director, because the guy that they tapped to be the director got withdrawn because he's a fucking loser.
I thought there was talk weeks ago that they wanted to do more quarterly.
Yeah. It was already part of, like, right. It didn't come today, not because of the shutdown, but because of the adjustments that they were trying to make after firing the guy and not hiring a replacement yet.
I don't need you to send out bad news every month. Like, just
right,
wait a couple months, and then you can put out the bad news that gets everybody pissed off.
And if I remember correctly, my take on it at the time was like, the people with the money that care about these reports, they'll just do their own, and they are, and they're bad.
Yeah.
And they did an adjusted version of the September one, which had it lower than the September one that came out, and then their October one is even lower than that. And so the indicators for the people that care about that kind of shit are not good. Which I don't know that we needed the report to tell us that. I just kind of feel like most people probably know that.
Yeah, so
I have no idea what the shutdown part. Like, I haven't seen anything yet. I did see that they closes the Great Smoky Mountain.
I thought I just read that they opened it back up.
That they're going to open it back up anyway. But it seemed like the way it phrased it in the headline was, at least, like they're just doing it on their own. However that works.
Yeah, it didn't go over well last time. So I know there were parks that were open that were hard, I guess, to like close off. I'm assuming kind of like the bigger ones out in the Midwest that people were still going to, but they didn't have like rangers there to kind of like clean the bathrooms, take out trash, etc.
Yeah.
And we're like, this is a shithole. It's like there's 2 of us that are on staff right now. I mean, we used to have 200.
Right. And the 2 of us that are on staff are getting paid.
Right.
It's an interesting conundrum I don't know. This is I'm trying, like, historically, it's usually the other way. It's always the Republicans that are withholding votes to continue whatever. So kudos to the Democrats for, having the stones to do it or whatever.
I mean, they're both playing the blame game from what I've heard.
But the interesting one on this one is, at least, it's like, basically, it kind of puts a lot more control in the president's hand, because the Office of Management and Budget can then prioritize with the funding that's available during a shutdown on who they want to spend it on. And so it's like, oh, okay, well, we want to fire a bunch of people anyway. So
yeah, I think I did see that.
Now Trump gets the Trump administration.
They were already kind of like pre-warning, like if we do shut down, like there's going to be a bunch of layoffs.
Right, they get to fire and lay off a bunch of people, and now they have the authority, like the clear authority to do it. Not that they weren't going to do it anyway, but now
you didn't get doged, you got shut down.
Right, and then the Democrats did it to you if they would have just continued the budget. Oh, it's bleak. It's bleak out there. So coming back local. One Knox won tonight. They have won the cup. They've won the regular season.
Nice.
They are the regular season champions.
So the Nashville won some kind of like tournament.
So
they didn't win the MLS Cup, but they
taking names.
What's that?
Tennessee soccer in general.
Yeah.
But yeah, so One Knox won. They won earlier tonight, 2-0, I believe, and that it was the final game of the regular season, I think, and they were playing against they were even with the team they played against tonight. And so any result, whatever the result of tonight's game was the regular season champion for the league.
Yeah. Wow.
And so a draw would have meant they tied for first. Whoever won the league. So, new park, new champion, I think was the headline on their post on it.
Heck yeah.
So, good job.
I want to say earlier in the year.
One Knox Kickers. I don't know what they're.
I think it was UT's women's soccer team was like super high ranked and was beating I think they were unranked and they were beating like top ranked other teams.
Good job, girls. Way to go. Ladies. Excuse me. Not girls. Ladies.
Yeah.
I'm running out of stuff. What do you got?
I don't think I read too much else going on.
Yeah,
just random bullshit.
President Bush?
No, random bullshit.
Oh. They said random Bush bullshit.
No, just random political bullshit that catch on the news.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I don't know. Like going back to the I don't know. I've been thinking about it a lot. I'd be curious your take on like what would have to happen for you to do something major. And that's what I don't know. It's like there's too many variables in the question. I get it, but it's like I don't know, because I feel like we're approaching a threshold for me that this is getting to be too much, and somebody has to step up and do something. And if I'm going to live by the adage of if not me, when, or if not me, who, if not now, when, kind of thing that I kind of believe in, like somebody has to do something. This is getting ridiculous on the federal level, on the local level, or at least on the state level. The local level's got its own. I mean, local level is not to a level of ridiculousness other than like, I don't know, like I saw earlier some dude, Trump endorsed some dude to run for state or Tennessee District 7 for the House of Reps.
Really?
And then Jacobs repeated it. It's like, oh, let's get on board with supporting the guy that Trump says is the best guy. And it's like, oh, okay.
I wonder how this person even got on Trump's radar to endorse.
I think it was District 7 in the state of Tennessee, so it might be important to see what district, where that is.
Let's say we got to the point where like my day-to-day was highly affected, would be when I would be getting to that point.
What? Marshall's not Tennessee's 7th congressional. What? Tennessee's 7th Congressional District's west side of Nashville. It's currently represented by...
Oh, that's right. There was that one, yeah, because he said he was stepping down or decided he wasn't going to run again.
He resigned in July of 2025 for a job in the private sector after the passage of the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. The suburb district has significant urban, suburban, and rural areas, although most of the area is rural. More than half of the district's votes are cast in either Davidson, so yeah. It's a properly gerrymandered portion of Nashville. Williamson County is it's a big chunk of Williamson County, which is the wealthiest county in the state. And it includes Tennessee's part of Fort Campbell. Politically speaking, the area was secessionist and part of the Democrats' Solid South for a century after the Civil War. Okay, anyway. So, yeah. That's why, I guess.
Yeah, I forgot that he announced he was retired.
So,
getting out.
So, it'll be a special election in 26, 25. Maybe that's on the ballot right now.
Probably.
I mean, if it's Butler endorsing.
If you get it in July, yeah, it gives them enough time to put somebody in there.
Yeah, but there's not a November election. There's not a state-required November election in odd years, so it's probably 26 election.
Well, how's that work? I guess the governor could, or I guess I don't think the governor could appoint someone
the governor would appoint the
temporary or whatever, an interim.
I would think so. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I'm just thinking like, at least at least at East Tennessee, odd year elections are only local municipalities. So, like for example, if Marcia wins mayor or wins governorship, and if she appoints Jacob to cover her Senate seat until it's done, her term wouldn't end until 2030. But if she appoints somebody in 2028 special election. If she vacates her seat, it'd be a 2028. It'd be an appointment until a 2028 special election.
Okay.
Because there's a 2028 general election in the state of Tennessee. This year's 2020, or that specific 2028 would be a presidential. It would have a bunch of Senate seats, a bunch of House seats. It would have a bunch of federal House seats, and it would be. That would be Haggerty. I believe Haggerty. That would be Haggerty's normal. So the second, because they're not in the same cycle. The Senate, the federal Senate seats from Tennessee are not in the same cycle, and it's a 6-year term. And so I think 28 would be Haggerty's re-election year. But it wouldn't have been Marcia's, but it will be a special election, which would make it a 2-year term for whomever, because then the actual general for that seat would be 30 in 2030. But either way, there's a statewide 28 election in play. So that forces a special election for that seat, even after it's appointed for 26 to 28. So theoretically, Jacobs could serve from 26 to 28 on an appointment. That special election would be in 28.
Right.
Because it would have to be in 28 by law, assuming law still exists and whatnot.
Makes sense.
Yeah. But all right, let's get weird for a little bit, and then let's call it a show. Shit, I hit the wrong button. Get a mixed version with the Viking horn.
Let me see here.
That actually went pretty well. I liked it. I did that on purpose. I mean,
California police pull over a self-driving Waymo for a illegal U-turn, but they can't ticket.
Why not?
Guess there's no one to ticket.
No. What is a Waymo?
Given driverless, like a little taxi. It's like a driverless taxi.
They did. That needs to be fixed quickly. That needs to be fixed super quickly. Somebody needs a fine. It maybe needs a double fine.
Let's see here. That's right. No driver, no hands, no clue. Read the post. Let's see here. They contacted Waymo to report what they called a glitch in the post. They said they hope reprogramming will deter more illegal moves.
Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah.
So, like, I've got a neighbor down the street.
So they can only ticket a human driver or operator for a moving violation. Unlike parking tickets, that can be left with the vehicle.
I got a neighbor down the street. He's got a Tesla, and he's got a bumper sticker on the Tesla that says, "Warning." I can't remember. God, I need to figure out the exact phrasing of it. But it basically says, "Warning, self-driving car."
More and more cars are doing it.
That's fine.
I think I've seen like a new like Ford SUV that you can do it like highway. I guess it has like a highway mode that you can do driverless.
The technology is this, whatever. That's fine that you're doing it, but fuck you. I'm not. I don't need to. You don't get special attention because you're self-driving. That's like I mean, that's like baby on board. It's like, get fucked. Your baby's not. I'm not going to hit you because. The idea that I was gonna run into you because I didn't think there was a kid in the car. What are we talking about here? I don't hit you while you're driving because you're another person on the road. The specifics of what's going on in your vehicle is irrelevant. And especially with the self-driving part of it, it feels like it's like a, hey, just so you know, I'm not doing this. It's my car doing this. It's like, well, if your car's doing it, then it needs to do it fucking correctly. Like
I appreciate it as a warning. Be like, okay, I need to watch out for that fucking car.
No, I don't think I'm the inverse. It's like I need to be a dickhead to this one. I need to see how smart this fucking smart driving car is. Because I'm in the lane and you turn the signal and you start changing lanes and you don't clear me, I'm going to hit you. And you'll be like, well, the AI did it, so that means you're in the wrong. Get fucked.
I think it's been adjudicated a few times. I've seen a couple like body cam videos of like people getting DUIs where the person's like, well, it's a Tesla, so it's a driverless car, and they're like, that doesn't hold up in court. Like you're still considered in control of it, no matter if your hands are on the steering wheel. Right,
exactly. And so it's like, you want to trust the self-driving. You trust the self-driving, but you're responsible for the actions of your car, right. Which is like that's why they need to fix whatever this person should get a ticket. Somebody needs to pay for the violation here. Because we can't make it some obnoxiously large fine on the AI company, on the self-driving software. Be like, you make your fucking software better. If your software is going to break the law, then you have to pay major. Because it makes no sense. Like, it's like, oh, well, nobody actually committed the crime. It's like, well, somebody did. Because somebody programmed it poorly, if that's the way we're going to look at it.
Yeah, but I'm sure multiple people were a part of that program.
Then
you
all
can't
of them
give the ticket to the programming
but the
team.
company that owns the programming is the end of the end responsible party would be the company, not the individuals that did the programming. But yeah, they need to. But I think it would be fair to make it quintuple fine or something like that. Make it major, because you have to make it hurt Tesla, for example, because a $100 fine for an illegal U-turn is not going to hurt Tesla. It needs to be $100,000 fine, and it still doesn't really hurt Tesla, but it makes the point. If you're going to do this self-driving thing, the standard needs to be like obnoxiously high. If we're going to allow self-driving to exist, it needs to be obnoxiously high.
Yeah, good luck.
I mean, agreed.
There's been multiple like lawsuits against Tesla for like accidents, to where it was more so on like the programming's issue.
Then they
to where it didn't detect a car that was like stopped in the road because it was already a part of an accident or whatever. Yeah. But then people have had a hell of a time trying to get the information from Tesla. And Tesla, has enough money and lawyers to drag it out.
That's the problem. Then, like, if governments existed in a world that made sense, That would be the government's job.
Well, it's another thing, they kind of have that little bit, not really a fail-safe, but, you know, a lot of their claims on at least some of their previous versions of it was, you know, like you're still supposed to be like watching what you're doing. You can't, you know,
right,
just
and the driver's responsible.
be like reading whatever.
Right.
It's like Tesla, your hands are supposed to be close enough to the wheel to where.
And if Tesla wants to make that part of their shtick to dodge the liability, then the person who is operating the vehicle needs to be held accountable. And so, if you want to buy a Tesla that's self-driving, know that when you do, that if the self-driving does something stupid, it's your fault.
They are.
That's what I'm saying. Like that would be the minimum of it. Like, but make it a bigger deal. You know, like make that a part of the PR campaign. It's like, hey, if you're going to use self-driving cars, you're at fault. So if you're going to trust it to do its thing, go ahead. But just know that Tesla's not going to back you up when their programming fucks up. You're going to pay for it.
Yeah,
that's part of the cost of owning a Tesla. For the example that we're doing, I hate it. 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 The problem with the reality with self-driving cars is it needs to go from 0 to 100% overnight. That's the only way it works. It never will. It can't. It can't functionally do it. That's the only way it can work, is that it goes from 0 to 100% instantaneously.
Yeah, I don't care for the technology.
I love the idea of the technology. I don't, like, there's part of me that still wants to drive.
It'd be okay if they wanted to, you know, a municipality wanted to have, like, a specific dedicated lane for it. Like, okay, just put them all in that lane, but not around with everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, like, you have to set up the liability in a way that makes it, you better be fucking right. Your technology better be good. Because this is dangerous. Like, this isn't just like, you know, oh, we might accidentally show porn to kids in an app or something weird like that. This is, we may kill some people.
Right.
And
I mean, they're working on like tractor trailer, like driverless.
I know. It's, I mean, the Tesla's got one of those too.
Yeah.
And it's like, I love the premise. I love the idea. But it's got to be fucking perfect. I mean, it's just got to be perfect. And it's got to be so perfect that it can deal with the rest of us idiots out there around it. Like, that's the problem. And I get that. But it's got to be good enough to deal with all the morons that are driving anyway.
Yeah.
And I don't know that that's possible. And so that's what I'm saying. Like, the only way that it really makes sense to me is that if it's literally, we go from 0 to 100% overnight. Because then they can talk to each other. And then no matter what I do, that one knows what I'm doing. And we can't run into each other.
I remember it was some kind of like newer driverless, like, I guess they use a bunch of like lasers. But there was a story about a photographer that was trying to do like pictures of this like brand new car. I think it might have been like a Volvo or something. And apparently it ruins digital cameras because it's got like 5,000 like lasers to detect like, you know, people walking across the street, etc. You know, for it to like recognize stuff all out in front of it.
Right.
But apparently, like, with him using his, like, digital camera, trying to take, like, you know, front shots of the car, like, it fucked up the camera. Because it was just getting bombarded by laser beams.
Well,
beams.
Nothing is more perfect in the news of the weird than AI. So, I think that's perfect.
Yeah.
AI sucks. So, Max is really enthralled with there's some AI songwriter that he's really enjoying. And so he likes to write songs about, like, that's not fair. He likes to prompt AI to write a song about a thing.
Right.
And he's really proud of himself every time he does it. And it's like, I've tried to write songs. It's hard. It's difficult. I've gotten really excited that a riff I've thought of got stuck into a song, and the total song together sounds cool. So, yeah, AI is going to ruin everything. That's the moral of the story here, is that, like, I meant to mention that the Fat General meeting, there's a bunch of AI pictures going around of these fat generals responding Like it's pictures of the generals, and it's the picture that they showed on the TV, and then it's the AI manipulating that picture into their response to what he's saying, and it looks fucking real. And there's another one of like a sergeant or something like that who's talking to his platoon about going into Portland, and it's like literally like Trump's an idiot and this is fucking fascist bullshit and stuff like that. It's like that didn't fucking happen. There's no way. There's no way that guy got on video with that.